Good morning. Happy to be with you again this morning. I read about a young preacher that was given the opportunity to take over a radio broadcast. The pastor who had been doing it for years and years and years retired, and they came to him and they asked this young preacher if he would be willing to take over this broadcast. Well, the cost of doing this broadcast, it covered a large area, it was in a big area. The cost of doing this broadcast was expensive, and so he went to his church board and he said, look, I'm willing to take less than my salary so we can afford to do this, because he really had a passion for reaching the lost. And so he then went to a well-known gospel singer, and he asked this gospel singer if he would be the singer and chorister on the program, because that was a common part of how they did programs back in the day. And so the guy at first said no, and then after this young pastor just kept after him, he said okay, he would do it, and he agreed to do it. But the point I'm trying to get at is godly decisions can determine destiny. This young pastor was Billy Graham, and that singer was George Beverly Shea. And that began their journey together. They began to receive calls after the radio broadcast, and after so many people heard him in the radio broadcast, they began to go out and receive calls to do revivals and things like that. When we make decisions, they impact more than just that moment. They impact more than just what we're doing in that moment. Decisions we make can have a long-term impact on us, and so it's so important that we make godly decisions, that those decisions help determine our destiny the right way. Joshua understood this in Joshua chapter 24. 24 verse 15, Joshua said to the people of Israel, "And if it seem evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourself this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house," he said, you can serve who you want to serve, but as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Over in 2 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 12, Paul made this incredible statement. It's an incredible passage. It says, "For our boasting is this." He said, "This is what I'm boasting about. The testimony of our conscience, that we conducted ourselves in the world in simplicity and godly sincerity, not with fleshly wisdom, but by the grace of God, and more abundantly toward you." He said, if I'm going to boast of anything in this world, he said, it's that we conducted ourselves not in the ways of the world with fleshly wisdom, but by the grace of God and more abundantly toward you. He said we focused on what God wanted us to focus on. I want you to remember this phrase: godly decisions determine godly outcomes. In fact, godly decisions determine godly destinies. Good decisions determine good destinies. You know, I talked to a young man at our church last night in our kids program, and he's been getting into trouble, and he's been rebelling against his parents, and he's been doing some things that he shouldn't do. And I told him, I said, look, you're at a crossroads right now, young man. You're at a crossroads in your life. You're going to have to decide what kind of person you're going to be. You think right now it doesn't matter how you act and the patterns that you build in your life and the things that you do, but I said it does. Because if you develop this rebellious attitude that says, I don't care what anybody thinks, I don't care what anybody does, I'm going to do what suits me, I'm going to make me the main focus of my life, I said, you can do that. But I said, listen, I've been doing this for a long time, and here's what's going to happen. You're going to have a hard time holding a job, because no employer wants somebody that's that self-centered. You're going to have a hard time keeping a marriage together, because marriage requires sacrifice. You're going to have a hard time in life if all you do is focus on me, 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 and rebel against anybody that does anything that isn't the way you want. You're going to end up just wrecking your life. You have to choose to be a person that does right, that follows godly direction, that follows the direction of your parents, that follows the direction of those that are in authority over you. You have to understand that the decisions you make right now will determine the person you are way on down the road. And his eyes got big, and I mean, this is a young man, he's probably about 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. His eyes got real big, and I said, you think I'm kidding? You think that what I'm saying, that I don't know what I'm talking about. But I said, I promise you, it's true. Good decisions determine destiny. Godly decisions determine destiny, and it will for you as well. So, in your day-to-day, throughout your week, in your life, strive to make good decisions. Strive to make godly decisions. Follow the Word of God. Follow the path that it leads us down, because those decisions will determine the destiny that you have, and they'll determine whether you have a destiny that's filled with pain and anguish, or whether you have a destiny that's filled with peace and joy. Well, my time is gone. I need to get off here. You have a great day today. I pray God blesses you with all sorts of blessings. And I will see you tomorrow. God bless.